Hey guys, today we're doing a Petcock seal replacement. We've got a rebuild kit. We're gonna redo that because it's dripping fuel, and I have a feeling that it was actually a potential cause for my recent crank seal going out. Not sure, but I'm quite suspicious. It was leaking all down here, and obviously it was getting all over this gasket. And these cylinders they're ported, and a fair amount is taken out of this outside wall, and the cases are matched. They're port matched as well. So there's not a whole lot of clamping integrity for this seal here. There's a few millimeters here, and that's it. So when I had it running, and I had all these problems recently, I'm trying to get ready for the next round of MOXC, and it was running like absolute garbage last round. So I had a few failures. I was running pretty much on one cylinder, but after I got the carburetor situated and it was running normal, it was still blowing smoke like crazy out of one of these cylinders. And if I sprayed starting fluid right here, far away from the carb, the idle went way down. It would start to bog, which I thought was kind of peculiar. So I had reason to believe that this gasket the base gasket may have been compromised. I'm not sure if it was that or the crank seals. So I just put all this back together, and now I'm just getting the Petcock situated so it doesn't drip anymore, because that's driving me crazy. So this tank is pretty much full of fuel, and my spare can has a full tank as well, so I'm going to have to work on this upside down, or on its side, so it won't leak, and just do it like that. So here we go, let's get into it. We'll walk through it, I'll take it off, we'll try to clean it up a little bit, take a peek at what's going on in there, and then get out the rebuild kit and get it going. So we're going to pull these main screws first, take the whole thing off, see what the inside looks like. It's pretty dirty on the bottom side. I didn't clean this off completely, but surprisingly these screens don't look that dirty on the inside. The bottom of this looks like just a small amount of residue, some dirt down here. So not as bad as I expected. So next step, we'll pull this face off and we'll see what the insides look like. Alright guys, I just got this out of the poor man's parts washer, which in my garage is literally just a bucket of gasoline, because it's the cheapest solvent you can buy right now. So let's pull this face off and see what we're dealing with here. Alright, now that's what I was looking for. So we have the face, we have the spring, It's very important. And then the main valve, the switch. And the insides. Let's see how it looks. Looks pretty good, actually. A little bit of dirt in there, but I don't know if that just got in there from what we were just doing, or either way, it's not very dirty. If you look way down, let's move the light here, see if we can show you guys inside. Not too bad. Not too bad. So for any of you who are looking for this part number, Petcock rebuild kit, specifically for the Banshee. It doesn't say on here, but when you look it up, this will be it. I'm sure it fits more than just the Banshee, more models. So I'm sure when you look it up, you'll find others as well. But there's the part number for you in case you're interested. Alright, so first things first, let's take our pick. I'm going to hit it with some brake cleaner, just so I make sure I get in everywhere. Okay. Valve is nice and clean. He still looks stressed out, but he's clean. He's good. We are ready to go. So, here's our rebuild kit. Let's open it up. Let's get some of these goodies out here. I'm going to move all of the dead and compromised seals over here so I don't mix them up like an idiot. Rebuild kit came with all the seals and these replacement bolts and screws, which is really nice. And the replacement bolts that are relatively large, let me show you how they compare to the OEM. It's actually kind of nice having this 10mm hex. They're zinc plated, and they have a really nice flange on here compared to the OEM, which is close in diameter. The new ones are a little bit bigger, which is better. But I don't understand this rubber seal or whatever this is, this ring. The other screw doesn't have that. See? I don't know what is factory and what's not, but I know these screws are factory. So it'll be nice to get away from these Phillips head. I don't know why, but all of these factory Phillips or JIS bolts or screws, they're so soft. They use such a soft material. And not only is it just the fitment of using the right JIS screwdriver to fit this that contoured hex inside properly, because the shape is different between a JIS and a North American Phillips, but the material is generally softer than a lot of our other hardware that we use. So that's another reason why these get chewed up so easy. You have to be extra careful with them. A lot of you Yamaha guys know what I'm talking about. So I think these will be nice to replace it with. So with the valve, I'm going to actually put a tiny bit of grease on the new O-ring, just to help it seal a little bit, because I like grease and I don't like these O-rings going on dry. Who wants it dry? It's no fun. Alright, so grease is on, nice and sticky. And let's put it on the valve. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to do the same for this one. Which way does it go on? Well, the same impressions and design is on both sides, so it doesn't matter. I'm just going to put a tiny bit, just a very thin layer of grease on here to make it just a little tacky. Alright. And let's see here. Let's put on the big one. Again, just a little bit of grease. Just a tiny bit. Okay. Now let's put the spring back in. This is clean enough, so we can put this right back in. And that popped in nice and snug, nice and secure, and it feels really good and tight now. Let's put the spring on. I'm not sure if I had to take that off, but I did. Made it easier. Now, before we put this on, I'm going to get out the Loctite. We're going to put a little bit of Loctite on these screws. The Loctite does actually serve as a corrosion preventative. If these bolts are stainless, which they're likely not, they're probably just regular zinc coated carbon steel. But if they were stainless and this is an aluminum valve, those are on the opposite spectrum of corrosion for these materials. And their interaction, their galvanic reaction will be the highest. So the promotion of corrosion between stainless and aluminum is the greatest. But the Loctite does act as a corrosion preventative, much as if you just put anti-seize on there. So you can do one or the other, but I'm putting Loctite on there because I don't want it coming loose. Now for these main bolts that are going to go into the gas tank with those brass or copper inserts that are in the gas tank, I am not going to put Loctite on these because that's probably too strong and those inserts will break free from the plastic housing that they're held in, and I don't want to do that. So I think we're all set here. This is nice and tight. Feels really good. And I'm looking forward to putting it on. So let's put it on right now. Let's put it back on the tank and put it on how it is. And I'm not going to use any Loctite on these for the reason I just explained. I don't know about you guys, but it's satisfying just having those new bolts on there because they look so nice and clean. Nice little yellow zinc. They look good. Okay, in real time, let's turn on the valve to the on position. Actually, let's turn it off. See if it leaks. Now the leak before was pretty slow. Let me move the camera down. The leak before was pretty slow, but we have no signs of fuel coming out anywhere. Even on the bottom side here. We'll replenish the parts washer a little bit. Okay, that's reserve. And that's on. And she's looking good. She's looking ready. Tomorrow I will try to get this thing together and get some coolant back in it. Like I said, I just rebuilt the whole thing. I just replaced all the seals. So trying to get it ready for next round. And got to get some coolant in it. Get it all aired out, burped out with the coolant. And we'll see how she runs, see how she feels. I don't really expect there to be any big differences other than how she usually behaves, but she'll be back to normal. So guys, do me a favor, if you like this, like and subscribe, and comment. Let me know if you want more of this how-to type stuff, these little details. Let me know if you want me to keep doing these types of how-tos, because I've got this other project here. This is a stock bore, brand new blaster cylinder. And this is for a 3mm stroked blaster. So I'm going to do the porting on this. I've got a lot to take out of the transfer ports, a lot to take out of the exhaust, and I have to raise the exhaust a certain amount. And if you guys really want to know those details, I'll share these dimensions with you. I know that porting is, you know, such a big secret and everything, and nobody really wants to talk about numbers other than degree values on their wheels and stuff for the port timing, but I won't do that to you. I'll just tell you what these numbers are. Okay? So if you want that, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you want me to make a video of me doing the port work on this. Catch you next time, guys. Thank you.